One of the biggest misunderstandings the American public has is that Medicare will pay for their long-term care solutions. I'm here with retirement income specialist Dawn Harkins of Harkins Financial Solutions to find out when should we start considering long-term care solutions. Hi, Dawn. How are you today? Long-term care planning, it's not always the most fun subject, but it is incredibly important. When should people start considering long-term care planning?
The earlier, the better. Okay, the earlier you start planning for long-term care, the better. First off, Medicare is not going to cover the cost of long-term care. And there's a big misconception about that, I agree. So you really need to give thought to what your plan is going to be. There's traditional long-term care, which may not be the best route to go in today's world. But there are newer products, for instance, using possibly a life insurance policy or an annuity to help cover some of the cost of long-term care. And it's really something that people should consider and educate themselves on, because outside of that, you're self-insuring.
Which can be very expensive. I mean, average costs, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, more, $8,000, $10,000, depending on the level of care you need?
Absolutely. It can be a big financial piece of the puzzle, and it's definitely something you want to have a plan for.
If you don't mind, I'd like to explore that a little bit more. You said life insurance to help you with long-term care. I thought life insurance is just a lump sum that my family gets after I'm no longer around.
Well, some life insurance policies have what we would call living benefits, which allow you to access the death benefit while you're alive for the purpose of covering long-term care. And it can be a very attractive way of covering a long-term care expense in the family and provide a lot of security for your family members when you do leave them behind.
Okay, and then you also said annuity for long-term care. How would that tool work?
For instance, there are annuities that if it's paying you a certain amount of money each month, then the benefit doubles for that time period, okay? There are going to be limitations. For instance, some annuities might have a 2 or a 4-year limitation, but it is a way of covering some of the cost.
Right, and that's no different than the old long-term care policies. They were often for a duration and only a certain amount of coverage as well.
Absolutely. And so, you know, when you think about life insurance, just the fact that a married couple, if both of them have Social Security, one dies, the larger payment, Social Security payment, stays in the family, but they lose the smaller one. That in itself is probably a good reason to consider life insurance. And then when you add the fact that you could possibly have a life insurance policy that provides living benefits with a long-term care benefit, it's definitely something individuals should explore.
There are different independent reports. I do believe one came from Fidelity. And I'll even take the numbers down lower because I believe it's 72 to 74, but somewhere around 70% of Americans who reach the age of 65, let's say a married couple together, there's a 70% chance that one of you will need long-term care, and then a 20% chance that both of you might. We're talking 80 to 90% chance if we're a healthy couple, 65 together, that we're going to need it. Do you go outside here in Louisiana when you know there's a 90% chance of rain today without an umbrella?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I recently had a situation with a client with a long-term life insurance policy with a long-term care benefit. And not only were they able to collect money themselves to help cover the cost of long-term care, also make some modifications to their home that needed to be made to make life easier for them, but they also left a death benefit when they passed away to their family. So not a whole lot of products can do that. And the right type of life insurance, depending on what the individual is looking for, can be a great fit.
You're a retirement income specialist. This was a specific question about long-term care, but the personal economic model, it's not just about insurance tools, correct?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. Not only can you see your insurance tools, but it's also about growing wealth and investments as well.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. We know that long-term care conversations and tools can seem overwhelming, but you want to get this started sooner than later. If you want to know what your own personal economic model would look like, including some long-term care conversations and tools, call the phone number right now down on the bottom of the screen and set your time. Or you can also go to the website, schedule your own time right there. No cost to you, No obligation. You can speak with Dawn Harkins herself. Go to harkinsfinancialsolutions.com. Thanks for watching.